Welcome back to the Matrix. You're not just the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news analysis. What is up? What is up? How's everyone feeling out of 10? Let me know down in the comments down below. Make sure you guys are spamming that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam that like button. All right. As of the time of recording, Bitcoin currently sitting at $89,003.28. We've been talking about this for the last few days, how we've had a few higher highs. Bitcoin has flipped completely bullish, and a back test is normal. We talked about all the way back to $88,000 would be fine. And that's literally what we got. We got on the nose, what did we wick to here? What did we wick to? $87,949. So we talked about it. Back test 88,000 would be fine and normal. That's exactly what we got, and people are already freaking out. But ski, help! That's right. The CME gap has been filled. People are already acting like we've made a new low, by the way. Like, I'm already seeing it. People are already literally acting like we've literally already made a new low. And that has not happened. In fact, we're the same price that we were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, except this was the high before a breakout, and this is the higher low back test on the 5-hour chart. On the daily chart, back testing the same thing here. We would like to reclaim this in the next couple of days, about 90,000, and then the 3-day perfectly back testing the 200 moving average. Same thing. We would like to reclaim this in the next couple of days. So the next 3-day close is January 22nd. We talked about getting a daily body below this fully would concern me. We haven't gotten that. This is not a neckline break or anything like that. This is a back test at the prior range, and people are losing their marbles. In fact, we know that they're losing their marbles because we're sitting back in extreme fear. After 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, being neutral. Price up equals good. Price down equals bad. 2 days ago, we were neutral. And now, after 2 red days, we are back in extreme fear. How the cookie crumbles. Now, while this is happening, the Russell still looking pretty good. Basically the same price. We're at 262, still technically an all-time high within the realm and range here. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. We want to see continued movement up here on this. I did forget to mention let's talk about where we're at here. This is pretty neutral on the 5-hour, but Bitcoin on the 5-hour here, I didn't mention this part, extremely oversold. 20 on the volume candle RSI and all the way down to 14, which is like really low. When you look at the history, there's only been a few times when we get lower than that. So I think that this is a, pretty violent back test. Realistically, as long as we don't put in a new low here, 84,500, that would concern me. I don't want to see this level get lost either. 86,500 would be warning signs, and this would be starting to get major warning signs of like, hey, this is probably getting into our spring territory, something like that. But I don't think that that's what it is, because we called this out like literally 2 weeks ago, talking about a back test at 88,000. Now, I didn't necessarily think we were going to get that deep. I thought 90,000 was more along what we were going to get, but I said many times 88,000 is perfectly normal back test of the 200, which is what you see time and time again over here, again and again and again, breaking out, back testing the 200, breaking out, back testing the 200 multiple times. You see that breakout back test of the 200, breakout back test of the 200 before breaking out. You see this again and again and again and again. Multiple tests of the 200 is very normal. And that's what we're doing again. Now, I would like to see in the next few days, I would like to see 90 get reclaimed so that this is more of a fake out move. and we can confirm it as a fake out move once we get back to 90,000. If we can reclaim that in the next couple of days, I think that this is just a fake out back test. But people are literally already acting like we put in a new low. It's pretty insane. This is nothing more than a higher low at this point. Think we can go lower this week? We can always go lower. We can always go lower. Sure. Do I think it's the highest probability? No. Right? Do I think that we're going to put in a new low? I don't. Do I think that we're even going to take out this low over here? I don't. If you're asking me, is it possible to put in a new low? Yes. It's always possible. Yes. Do I think it's the highest probability? No, I don't. I think the highest probability was this is a CME gap that we have filled, a breakout, back test of the prior range. That's what I think the highest probability is. We could see confirmation of this in the next couple of days. If we can reclaim $90,000 and hold it, that would be confirmation that, hey, this was just a breakout back test. If, 3, 4, 5 days from now, we're chilling under 90K still, that's not great, and that would be more in lines of like, hey, maybe we get a spring here. But as of it stands right now, no, I do not think that that's the highest probability at all. Silver, gold put in a new all-time high today. To me, like, we are deep in distribution at this point. Silver continuing to rip. I sold a little bit more silver today, actually. I went up to my coin shop and sold a little bit of silver. Same thing. Even he did not, I think the price was like $95 and he only gave me like $88. So, yeah, pretty insane. Pretty insane. And I asked him, I said, are more people buying or more people selling? He told me more people were buying. It's kind of crazy. More people are buying right now. More people are buying silver right now. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? More people are buying silver. That's what he told me. Straight from the horse's mouth. More people are buying silver right now. Straight from the horse's mouth. Now, my first target was $78. That is the 1618 for silver. We have obviously ripped right past that. So, and I talked about 107 is my second target. I think we're probably going to get that. That's what I think silver is going to find its way to. Like, we're clearly past the 1618. We're probably going to get to the 2618, about $107 here. That is what I think it's going to find its like fully distributed topping price. We had a fully distributed topping price of gold of $4,700. It is now $100 past this. So very high for gold. This to me looks like your UTAD right now. And let me go on the daily, see where we're at here. And again, like this divergence is playing itself out. You can see the buying climax. That's when I sold 40% of my gold. I'm probably going to sell some more of my gold. I sold some silver today. I'm probably going to sell some more of my gold though. This is a clear bearish divergence. This is very clear bearish divergence. You can see the buying climax. Gold was at $4,400. We came down. The price went back up. You can see the price was $4,500. The RSI is lower on the daily. The price came back down. The RSI came back down. The price is now at $4,800, $4,850, and the RSI is even lower. This is a very major bearish divergence. Okay, major. Let me show you like how this shows up. Let's talk about it. So how about the last Bitcoin top? You might be like, what is he talking about? Bearish divergence. How about the last Bitcoin top in 2021? What do you see? January, the buying climax. Bitcoin was chilling at $41,000. This is technically not the buying climax. The buying climax was somewhere in March, but you can see though, look at the RSI going down. The price is rising. RSI going down, price is rising. That's a major bearish divergence. That is a topping signal. Now, if I see like the first divergence here, if I point this out and I'm like, major bearish divergence over here when Bitcoin was at, 58,000, does that mean it doesn't go any higher? No. You had a major bearish divergence at 58,000 and the price went way higher. It went 12% higher. Doesn't sound like a lot in crypto, but that's a lot. That's a whole year worth of gains in the stock market. He says, but Ski, thank you for the donation, brother.
Rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if you zoom in on the 3-day here, you can see it very clearly. If you get rid of this and just look at from top to top here, the tippity dippity right here was, it was at that 41,000, and you can see we got to 69,000. Look at that. That's a major bearish divergence. So this is what I'm talking about. People are like, but gold went higher. You're wrong, Ski. You said the top. You said we're working on a topping structure. Gold's now higher. Na boo boo. Stick your face in doo doo. What do you see right here? The same exact thing that happened with Bitcoin. This is how tops come in, ladies and gentlemen. Especially for gold. It's not some meme coin. Especially for gold. It's not a meme coin. It's going to give you true distribution. You're going to have multiple bearish divergences. So silver's probably going to go to 107. Gold, my target was 4,700. We'll see where it wants to go from here. It's already fully parabolic at this point. There's not even a fib I can pull. Let me try to pull a fib and see like what would be a technical target here. We're at the 4236, bro. We're at the 42. This is maximum parabolic. Maximum with major bearish divergences. Let me try to pull it from over here. But that, from the 2011 top to the 2017 bottom, that is a major. Let's see about the August top. And see where we're at. We're already well past that. So that really, now, one thing you could say is like maybe the dollar's not really the dollar from there and we continue to go higher, sure. But I think it's very close at this point. I think that this is probably 3/4 to 5/8 of the way done at this point. Insane price action we're getting from precious metals. Silver's been repressed for 50 years. So when it finally breaks out, that's, to be expected. 100K Bitcoin by next week. Very possible. Bitcoin next move. Any love for XCN? We'll take a look at XCN. What's Bitcoin's next move? Bitcoin bear flag, next leg down. Yeah, people are already talking. People are already talking as if Bitcoin today with this liquidity thing, even though we were talking about a back test of 88K would be perfectly normal. I've been talking about that for weeks. A back test of 88K would be perfectly normal. People are already speaking as though Bitcoin has already put in a new low. That's how people are speaking about Bitcoin. This move right here, they're speaking as if we are lower than what we were over here. As if this is lower than what we were over here. As if this is lower than what we were over here. That's how they are speaking about the asset. Which is good. Very good. We're extremely oversold on the 5-hour chart. You can see that. And we're moving our way back to the upside here. Now, I don't know if that, it's probably going to be by this time tomorrow. We're probably going to get across here. But if we reclaim 90K in the next couple of days, this is just a back test of the prior range. And the next move would be about 103,000. Now, if we start losing over here, we start losing 86,500. That is when I'm going to start being a bit concerned. Or if by the 3-day close, I will give you my 2 red flags. But right now, we're not in red flag territory. In fact, we're in the where I thought we would go territory, $88,000. My other red flag number 1 would be taking out 86,500. Red flag number 2 would be by the next 3-day close, which is about the 22nd. If we haven't reclaimed like 90K, that's not going to be as concerning as it's not going to be as concerning as taking out 86,500. However, it would be a yellow caution, like that's not great. But as of right now, this is a breakout back test of the 200, which is very common. And you can see this entire time that we've been accumulating, you can see that's where we've had this as support the whole time. Okay? The whole time. The whole time. Yeah, bear flag experts. How about the monthly RSI? Neutral. Back testing the 20 here. Finding support off of the 20. Full bullish posture on the monthly. Completely as bullish as you can be. Right? I'm seeing a lot about head and shoulders, this and that and the third. The neckline has not been taken out yet. This is not a confirmed head and shoulders. It is, however, a confirmed higher low and a confirmed higher high. That is what has been confirmed. Monthly RSI is neutral. What brokerage do you use? BitUnex. By the way, guys, I am running Orlando. I'm about to look at. I didn't forget about you. I'm about to look at H&T right now in Algorand. I said the buying climax for gold was months ago, Orlando. Months ago. Let me clarify one more time. And I have a tweet. I said that the buying climax for gold was in October. That's when I said I was selling 40% of my gold. Was in October when gold was at $4,400. Okay, let me show you what a topping structure looks like, so there is no confusion. Buying climax is the climax of buying. If you remember correctly, this is when we saw people literally lined up out the door to buy gold, was in October. That is the climax of buying. Now, I need you to notice something. This, however, is not the highest price on a textbook Wyckoff distribution, because the upthrust, you will notice, is higher than the buying climax, and the UTAD is higher than the upthrust, which is also higher than the buying climax. October, I said, I think that this is the buying climax, and I even drew some squiggles on how I thought it was going to play out. Here's my little squiggles that I drew months ago. All right? This is our UT right now, or our UTAD. You might call this the UT, and this is the UTAD. It is somewhere in here, probably closer to here. This is probably our UTAD right now. It's possible it's just our UT, and it's possible we don't even get a UTAD. But we are, in my opinion, about 3/4 of the way done distributing. When I sold my gold, I have the tweet over here. I don't know why it's so far away. I said I am selling my gold, 40% of my gold today, October 16th, 2025. That was what I called the buying climax. The climax of buying. That doesn't mean the highest the price goes. And I even labeled this, before I even mentioned it, as the buying climax. I labeled this months ago because I thought exactly that this was a buying climax. And I said very clearly multiple times, Gold is not a meme coin. Silver is not a meme coin. We are not going to get this blow off top. That's not going to happen. It's a multi-trillion-dollar asset. We will get distribution. That is certainly how this is playing out. I sold 40% of my gold at the buying climax. Probably I'm going to sell probably another 40% this week. Could we be working on the spring on Bitcoin's chart with today's dump? That is possible. Yes, that is possible. But I would need to see, in order to classify that, I would need to see 86K being taken out. If 86K being is taken out, I would say that that's much more likely. But I don't think that's even the highest likely right now. To me, right now, this is just a breakout to the 100 on the daily and a rejection, a higher low right now. This is still just an uptrend. We haven't even broken this trend. If we break this trend, I would say that that's probably what's going to happen. Would be a spring, which I outlined that. Again, I outlined this months ago. I said that this is the selling climax. This is the secondary test. We could get a spring. I don't know that we're going to get a spring. So months ago, I outlined this. This is how the last one played out. We're already past the number of days from the last one, but that doesn't mean, time is not almost irrelevant for structure. But we are past the amount of time it took to accumulate last time. But, this was a shorter time. Like, this was a reaccumulation. This took 180 days. 234 days. This was a reaccumulation pattern, and it took 234 days. But we are past this point, which did have a selling climax, a secondary test, and a spring. $5K gold on a UTAD. It's possible. The Russell is on an all-time high, so I think we see a massive pump in a few weeks. I agree. The Russell is at an all-time high right now. Presently. Very quietly. And this is more evidence that silver and gold are distributing because we're seeing the Russell breaking out. Now, I want to see a continuation. I want to see a continuation out of the Russell, but it is at an all-time high, and I think it is in price discovery. All right. Let's look at H&T. I'm waiting for 65K any possible. 65K is possible. I do not think it's likely, though. I think it's very unlikely that you get 65K. Now, historically would say, like normal bear markets, the bottom is pretty much the prior high. Pretty much the prior high. That's happened a few times. So you could say, if we were going to get that, that would be right here. However, I don't think it's likely that we go that deep because there was no ETFs. The inflation was double the last time. There was no institutional buying power. There was no governmental buying power. Fundamentally, things are very, very, very different. Just from a fundamental standpoint and even from a technical standpoint, I think the lowest likely that we get, if the bottom is not already in, would be a spring to about 75K. I don't see a realistic scenario where we get below that. Even in the worst of scenarios, it would take something pretty catastrophic. Like, think about all of the tariffs being talked about, the wars in Israel, the war with Iran, World War III, Japan cutting their rates, the tariffs for the first time over here. Think about everything that happened that could not get us below 80K. And so I'm not saying it's impossible, but I do think it's very unlikely. I think it's within, like, it's not a crazy take. Like, I'm not mad at it if you have a 65K take. I'm not mad at it. Like, to me, the people who are saying like 50K, 30K are kind of delusional. 65K is more within the realm of possibility. But I think there's a good chance that the bottom is already in. That 80K was it. I think that there's probably a 50-50 chance that maybe a bit more was already it. And I think the best likely case scenario is a spring to about 75K. Bitcoin will go to 139K. I agree. I know patience wins in the end. 100%. It's annoying. Been waiting for an alt season for a long time. Crypto feels dead. Jeremy, the one thing that is different this time is the Russell was not in price discovery. In 2017, the Russell went into price discovery and distribution. During the distribution, that was the altcoin run. In 2021, I will show it again. The Russell broke out into price discovery and went into distribution. And I'll just show you real quickly. We're not going to like beat a dead horse here. Here is distribution, UTAD right here, up thrust right here, buying climax right here. Okay, so the buying climax of the Russell after it broke out into price discovery was March of 2021. And the UTAD was November 8th, 2021. So I need you to think about what happened March of 2021 through November of 2021. Because not only is this correlated to altcoins, this is the altcoins. This is the number one factor for altcoins. So the one thing that is different this time that has not taken place is the Russell at no point in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 has broke out into price discovery and went into distribution. At no point did that happen. Now, we still got a long way to go. However, this fractal is following candle for candle from back. I pulled this from the C19 crash and I overlaid the tariff crash. Okay. This is how I'll show you what it looks like. So I pulled this from right here. Okay. And you can see this is to the buying climax, which is basically when the altcoins really heated up. Okay. Now we're not there, but we're getting there. And we are at an all-time high. Not, we're starting to get into price discovery. Not a full breakout, euphoria, any of that stuff. We're not that particularly close to the buying climax. And I'll say this as far as the market goes. If we're going to get a spring, I personally think whatever happens will be done by March. And we will be only higher highs from there. If it hasn't already started, because I had two dates. I had January 15th as one major pivot date, and I thought this because of the Russell, because I thought we would put in a new all-time high by the 15th, and we did, as a major pivot date, or in March. I still think that it's already probably happened. I'm open to the idea of getting a spring around March timeframe, which would be about the buying climax of this as well, if we were to continue to follow this. All right. So that's the one thing that has not happened in 2025, 2026 is the Russell. That's always been a prerequisite to altcoins, and it is finally breaking out into a new all-time high. July-ish. Yeah. So from the I'll just show you one time. He says the fractal looks like distribution will be July. So I'll show you this real quick. So here's the total 3, And then I'm going to look at, for Orlando, I'm going to look at H&T. Because I know he asked about it. Okay, so real quick, I have it outlined here. The first thing that happened was gold tops out in August of 2020. You can see, let's actually put this to be the same here. Okay, so August of 2020, you can see this is the total 3, literally dead. Bear market lows, if I zoom out, nowhere close to the all-time high. Dead as a doornail, literally dead. Okay, so that's the gold top. We kind of chop around. Finally makes a new all-time high November of 2020. You can see still the altcoins. This is the total 3. Everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, basically measuring the altcoins. Still dead. Now, from the all-time high to the buying climax, we did have a rally in the altcoins. This is about a 2x. Pretty significant, but nothing crazy. And then you can see from the buying climax, I have it circled here, to the UTAD, that was the whole run. So things will be heating up before we get to the buying climax. You know, there's going to be ones and twosies doing really well. But realistically, it's going to be from the buy. It's going to be from the actual distribution. Yes. If Bitcoin gets above 100K, I think 3,600 for Ethereum. Time retrospective TA. I mean, how wrong can one be? You're not just wrong, you're stupid. The cat in the hat meme. You're not just wrong, you're stupid. January 2nd, I talked about this. January 2nd, we talked about this. Let's get this. You're not just wrong, you're stupid. All right, January 3rd, 2026. The Russell was at 248. Retroactive TA. Retroactive TA. Retroactive. January 3rd, the Russell 2000 has been following candle for candle. I need you to notice 248. That's where the Russell was at. We had not broken into an all-time high. There was not an all-time high for the Russell at this point. The Russell has been following candle for candle since 2021. Breakout from the C19 crash. If in mid-January it puts in a new all-time high, that will be confirmation. After price discovery and distribution is when the altcoins went crazy. How is it retroactive when I'm literally projecting what the Russell will do, which will cause what the altcoins will do? The altcoins have not broken out into price discovery. The altcoins have not went on a bull run. The altcoins have done none of these things, but I'm projecting January 3rd what will happen with the Russell 2000. When it was at 248, I was projecting that it would make a new all-time high, which, guess what? It's at a new all-time high, breaking out into price discovery. And then I showed, what does that mean for the altcoins? Is it right now? Am I retroactively saying that are the altcoins in price discovery right now? Are they breaking out? Is the bull run back right now? Or am I projecting what it's going to do right now before it happens? $74K for Bitcoin. 74K is possible. That's definitely on the board. Now, people are already talking about though Bitcoin as though it's already made a new low, which I find interesting. I think that if you're asking me, I think the higher likelihood is this was the bottom. I'm not guaranteeing that. And I think it's certainly possible that we do get a spring. If we were to stretch this, like I have no idea. We're already past the point of when we got it last time. But I think it's possible we get a spring for sure. And that would be about the 75K mark. So if you're asking me, is 74K possible? Certainly. It certainly is. So there you go. This is what it would look like. Something like that. I don't think that we're there. Like I predicted that we would backtest 88K like a week ago or a few days ago. I don't know if it was a week ago. However, what would alarm me to like be like, hey, this is more likely would be we start losing 85K, 86K, or in the next 3-day candle if we don't reclaim 90K. So by the 22nd, if we haven't reclaimed 90K, I would be a bit concerned by that, but I don't think that this is the highest probability as of right now. I think that the selling climax certainly is in, and probably the LPS, and we'll see if it's the spring variation or not. We'll see. All right, let's look at it. Make it go faster, Ski. I know. I'm just retroactively giving TA. I'm retroactively giving TA when I project that the Russell will make a new all-time high and what that means for the altcoins. Retroactively doing the TA, guys. If we're still getting one. How many years till alt season? If we are... Alt season starts. Listen, hear me. It doesn't matter about 4 years. Doesn't matter about any of that stuff. Alt season starts when the Russell breaks into price discovery and goes into distribution. Now, if you're asking me, I think the Russell is in the midst of doing that right now. So it could be as early as March. Could be as late as, July or August. But I think within the next 6 months or so, we're going to see things significantly heat up. I think that myself included, for the most part, all of 2025 was not what anyone expected, myself included. And so therefore, if all of 2025 is not what anyone expected, what the hell makes everyone think that 2026 is now we just got it? And from my perspective, when I scour through the internet on TikTok and on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, the vibe is all of 2026 is going to be awful. And, we're going to bottom out in October and it's just going to be a straight line down until then. Sure, maybe. But that's literally what everyone thinks right now. All right, let me look at H&T. Oh, that was a good one. So we're basically at the bear market lows of 2023 before we broke out. Now, this got rejected the last time. You had a pretty typical accumulation here. Let me go on the 3-day. You had a pretty textbook accumulation. You did get rejected on H&T pretty much all the way down on the 100, and then you started testing the 200. We've already tested the 200 now a couple of times. So that's basically what happened last time. We tested it twice before breaking out. This is still a pretty bearish posture at this point. On the 5 hour, same thing. It's got some work to do. Basically, we got to get back above $290 million market cap, or about $1.60. I don't think that the inflation on H&T is bad, if I recall. What in the world? Come on. So you got to get it back above $1.60 to really reclaim. Bullish posture. And I think it'll at least retrace here. Why does this not have... Let me go. Why is it doing that? It's so weird. All right, let me try to find a good chart here that has more data. Probably KuCoin would be a good one. Here we go. Yeah, so we only went to the 236 here. What'd the market cap go through? I think about the same. So I think that the inflation on this to me is like a longer accumulation. Same as XRP. Like XRP skipped a cycle too. Everyone forgets about that. Yeah, so this is good. The market cap and the price are basically the same. That's what you want to see. I don't want to see a big discrepancy. This is just a bigger accumulation. This is probably your sign of strength in your back test. And XRP did the same thing where it skipped an entire cycle. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's what H&T is going to do, but, you know, I'm just giving you an example of a coin that didn't do what we expected it to do when we expected it to do it. And then all of a sudden it just started taking off. Like Rose is probably another example of that too. It's been performing really well. XMR is an example of that, right? So it didn't even make a new all-time high in 2021. Well, technically it did, but barely. This isn't a price discovery high. And we came back and reaccumulated before going all the way to the 1618. Right? So yeah, I think that this is still accumulating. I don't want to see it start losing this. Like that would concern me if we start making significantly lower than like, you know, 80 cents or something like that. That wouldn't be awesome. But I think that this will retrace at a minimum $20. I think that's pretty conservative. We hit the 236. $20 to $28 I think is definitely on the board. Which, you know, that's a 20x. Like, you don't even need it to go into price discovery. You don't even need it to go into price discovery. I'm seeing multiple crypto putting in LPS, either in accumulation or reaccumulation, XCN being one of them. FYI, I can't stand crypto. Well, there you go. That's I think so. Right? I like that little thing you threw in there at the end. I can't stand crypto, so that's a pure, you know, maybe purely technical take. I would say so. This is, yeah. Like, man, that's a crazy chart. That's a damn good looking chart, if you ask me. It hasn't performed the way we have wanted it to. How long do you expect Bitcoin to stay in the hundreds? Probably till about March. See, he says, we're back. No, we're not. We're back. Nope, not again. See, I haven't done any of that. I've been steady the whole time. We're projecting to 75K. No, what I'm projecting is 80K. I think the highest probability, 80K was our selling climax. And I think that the highest probability is it was so violent that we don't put in a new low. I think that that's the highest probability. I'm open-minded to getting a spring to 75K, but I don't think that's the highest probability. I think currently right now, unless, let me spell it very clearly what I think that this move is and what I think it represents. This move from Bitcoin, in my opinion, the highest probability, again, everything is probabilities. I don't have a time machine. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but the highest probability to me is that this was a breakout, higher high, and a back test of the prior range. 3 or 4 days ago, we have been talking about back testing to 88K is perfectly fine. And that's what we got. Okay? And so until it becomes something else, like that's all I'm going to say it is just a back test to the 200 moving average after flipping bullish, which is a very common thing to do. Now, if we start getting into 86,500, then sure, like, okay, this might be something more than just a breakout back test. But as it stands right now, I don't think so. I think that this is just the second higher high and we've had multiple higher lows at this point. Higher low, higher low, higher low, potentially another higher low. So until it becomes something deeper than that, I'm not going to call it something that it's not. Hopefully that makes sense. By the way, guys, I am running a sale on my Telegram. I've been live trading there. Calling out what I'm thinking, why I'm thinking it, doing exclusive videos for the Telegram group. So if you guys are interested in getting lifetime access, we're running a sale for the next week. You can hit me in the DMs for that. We are using BitUnex to trade. And I do have a referral link for that as well. So if you're interested in being around a like-minded community and iron sharpening iron, hit me in the DM for that. Is it a Telegram group or a Discord group? It's a Telegram group. Do you think we move above? Do you think the move above 100K will be violent? Yes, I do, because it's such a psychological level. Yes, I think that is high probability. Yes. It was the same thing last time too. Like, the first time we broke above 100K, like same thing. Like we got rejected pretty hard here from 99K, like 600 or whatever, all the way back down to 91K. When we finally broke above 100K, like we just went that night to like 103. You know what I mean? So I think something similar, even over here too, when we did it again. When we got above 100K, it did it violently all the way to 105, all the way to 111, basically. I think it would be something similar. Yes. See me gap to 93K. Do you think we see it in 20? Yes, I think we see it in the next few months. I think we see us getting above 100K by March. Well, let me call it April, because I think that the worst of it, even in a spring variation, is going to be done by March. Rose is on the move. May. Okay, sure. I don't care about time. Don't even listen to what I say about time. I'm not a time analyst. I'm a structured analyst. Sure, if it's March, April, May, June, I don't care. It'll happen. That's what I know for sure. Approximately what date will be hit 96,355, roughly, give or take an hour? That's what y'all want for real. But Ski, you said by blah, blah, blah date, by this hour, we would be at this price, and I was supposed to be able to sell. That's what you told me, Ski. You can't trust these influencers for nothing. That's what y'all really want from me. Listen, I do my best, bro. I take accountability when I'm wrong. I give you what I think it is, and I'm... But that would make you wrong for all of 2026, too. Oh, shit! Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, bro. Damn it, man. All right, guys. That's gonna be. We're gonna just wrap there. That's enough for one night. All right, guys. That's gonna be it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm gonna try to be live earlier. I had a bunch of errands to run, but we'll be live tomorrow. Hopefully back above 90K. That would be great. We'll see. It's not the end of the world if not. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I will never message you first. Those are scammers. If you're interested in joining the Telegram and sharpening your trading skills and live trading with me, I put out my calls, sells, buys, and we do live trading video where I answer questions, and you can just ask me a question directly. Hit me in the DMs for that. We do have a sale going on for the end of this week. But that's going to be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity. God first, God bless.